First thing first, I want to congratulate for your PPO conversion of Oracle.
Thank you so much.
So Souhard, tell us more about yourself, just a bit about yourself.
Well, okay. Basically, my name is Souhard Katraia, and I'm from Bangalore, and been studying in NITK for 4 years now, in my final year, and I'm pursuing computer science engineering in NITK, and my hobbies are traveling, watching TV shows, reading books. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay, so Souhard, what was the procedure to apply for the internship of Oracle?
Okay, so the Oracle came to our campus, and it was an on-campus recruitment. So it was a very smooth process for us because it's the company. The main interaction was between the company and the college, and they came to our college. They conducted online tests and then interviews. Everything was on campus only. So, and the entire procedure was, guaranteed and taken care by the college itself.
Okay, so from which sources did you prepare for the internship?
Mainly from Geeks for Geeks and Interview Bit. So for all the DSA concepts and like small things like data structures, time complexities, all of these things I refer to Geeks for Geeks and my class notes as well, which I had from my college. And for coding specific questions, I refer to HackerRank and Interview Bit. Interview Bit being the main source of information. It was like the best platform I could find for doing coding.
Okay, so moving to the next question. Yes. What is your opinion on how can an individual can clear the test, technical interview, and HR interview?
Okay, so for the test mainly, I'd say you need to have a lot of practice because even if you start coding even let's say 1 month, 2 months before, it's not enough. You need to be into coding from a much longer time. And so that when you do a lot of questions, you have a good idea about how to tackle certain kind of questions and what is the kind of solution that would work out the best. So I think the more you practice, the more confident you will be, because all of the company tests, you'll find a lot of similarities in the questions that come, because the type of question will be same. They might ask a different and give you a different analogy, but the type of questions will be something which you would have probably already seen before if you have practiced enough. For the technical interview, again, having a good understanding and a brief and a proper knowledge of all the data structures and algorithms is a must. And more than just knowing the answers, you should be able to convey to your interviewer what your mentality is, what your methodology is, how you are approaching a solution, right? If you're thinking of doing something, explain it to your interviewer. Okay, this is what is in my mind. This is how I'm going to approach the question. And always start with a brute force solution and then move on to a more optimum solution, so that at least your interviewer knows, okay, this person knows all the kinds of approaches there are. And also, whenever you're stuck, make sure that you don't go here and there, don't blabber bullshit. Like, just like ask the interviewer, what do you mean by this? And always, before attempting a question, do try out different inputs to whatever you're thinking, so that you know what is the kind of output that you're getting from it. And other than that, always have some confidence in yourself. I think that's the most important thing for technical as well as HR. You should be confident about your knowledge, about the preparation that you have done, and that's a big plus. And for HR, I'd suggest it's your resume, which is very important for the HR round. So not to have any irrelevant information in your resume, and not to keep projects that you are not confident about, right? You should not include those projects which you have not worked upon, right? So you should only have those projects which you have worked upon and which you understand very well in depth. Because even for me, my HR interview had a lot of questions from my resume, from the project that I had done. So it's important to know all of the aspects, and always having a smile on your face goes a long way during both HR and technical interviews. The interviewer should feel that you are comfortable, and he should feel that you are confident. So I think that's plus. Yeah.
Okay, so can you please give some advice for your junior fellows on how to crack the Oracle?
How to crack the Oracle this thing? Okay. One more thing that I forgot to mention about the technical interview is that it's not just a DSA questions. They ask questions from subjects like operating systems, database management, object-oriented programming. These are like very important subjects in computer science and computer networks as well. So you should have a a basic knowledge of all of these subjects as well. And coming to Oracle, clearing Oracle's test, I think the first round for us, how it worked was there was a test which had more than 100 questions and very limited time. And they didn't ask us coding questions in specific. These were questions based on DSA and subjects like operating systems, software engineering. And the DSA questions were also such that they had given us a code and they had asked you, okay, this is the code, what should be the output? Or if this is the input, what code would be the best? And they had given us code snippets and options. So they had like really used their mind to, create tricky questions from DSA. So again, having coding experience will help you out for this as well. And I think after the round for us, at least in our college, after the first round, they had selected around 40 to 45 students for the next round. And then after that, we had our interview, which was a pen paper test. They decided to go with a pen paper test for second round, where they gave us some 4 to 5 questions on DSA, on real life applications of data structure and algorithms. And then we had to write down the most optimum solution. And then they selected some 13, 14 students more. And yeah, for the HR round. And then after the HR round, they selected around 7 students to enter.
And I guess all the 7 students are converted to the PPO, right?
Yeah, all 7 students got PPO. Yeah.
Got the PPO. So,
yeah.
Can you please give advice to the each year, like for the first year, for the second year, for the third year students?
Okay, so for the first year students, I think in the first year, what we had a subject on computer science, which one was a lab and one was a theory subject. So I feel for all the students who have it, whether you're a CS student or not, it's very important to take that subject seriously, because whether or not you take the other subject seriously, that's your call, what you want to do. But take the CS subject seriously so that you grasp all the concepts from the beginning itself, right? It's very important to have a good understanding of CS from first year itself. So I suggest take those subjects seriously for a first year student. And when you enter second year, that's I believe very crucial, because that's the year before you'll be giving your internship interview. So in your second year, I think you should start looking into different areas of computer science and do projects there, so that you have an idea which field interests you the most. So if you want to try out ML, you can do an ML project, do some online course, get some knowledge, try out an ML project. If you like it, go ahead with it. If you don't, then keep it aside. If you want to give it a shot at web development, Android development, you can go about these as well. And while you're at it, you should also be focusing on comparative programming. That's the most important thing, because as soon as your third year starts, the interview tests will start, and just doing CP for the 2-3 months during the summer holidays is not at all enough. And it's very important that you have a good base before those holidays start. Like, those holidays should be for revision, not for starting from scratch. So I think it's important that second year should be utilized in a lot of CP. Yeah. And for the third year also something, or just first and second year?
For third year, how can one focus who wants to get an FT at Oracle?
For third year, I think, it depends. If you have a good company, if you get into a good company and you really feel, okay, I would love to work here full time as well. So in third year, what you can do is, again, don't leave CP, because almost all the companies, even for their FT interviews after your, to give you the PPO, they will take an interview for you. And it's important that you continue your CP so that your DSA knowledge does not go away and it still stays fresh in your mind even while your internship is going on. So I think keep continuing your CP work, and whatever profile you have gotten your internship at. For example, mine was server technology, and they had asked us to choose a set of projects that you wanted to work upon. So what I started doing was, whatever those set of projects they had given us in December, I think. So January onwards, I started looking up those projects, whatever prerequisites they require, and I started preparing on that, so that when I go for my internship, I have an edge over other students, and it will be easier for me to convert my internship into a full-time opportunity. Yeah.
Okay. So what are other branches are also eligible for the internship?
So I think when it comes to CS related internships, all the circuit branches, that is computer science, information technology, electrical engineering, electric and electronics engineering. So all of these branches are taken by all the companies. And there are some companies like Uber and Goldman Sachs, etc., which do not look at branches, and they will, they are open to people from all the branches, so that, even if you're not in any of these circuit branches and you are still interested in coding and you do a lot of coding, so you have a good chance at, getting these big companies. And
Okay,
if, even Google, I think Google also doesn't look at branch.
yeah.
They just want your CS knowledge. Yeah.
So what was the CGPA cutoff for the Oracle at the time of internship application?
For the internship, the minimum CGPA was 7.0. Like you had to be above 7 CGPA to be able to sit for the
Placement.
for the internship. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next section. So in which profile you got the internship?
I got the internship in server technology profile. So that was the only profile they had for us. And yeah, so that was my profile. And I worked in a team called the Java Platform Group. So Java is basically everyone knows what Java is. And that is something which is Oracle's product. Oracle works on it. Oracle takes care of it. All the new, Java tools, Java kits, and the Java, the platforms that people use to code Java on, like IntelliJ, etc. All of those are maintained and developed by Oracle itself. So I was a part of that group.
Okay, so can you please give us more insight about your project?
Okay, so my project in specific was enabling Java compliance test on the emulators, Android emulators. So Android phone, mobile phones, they all use Java in the background for the functioning of the operating system. And so what the company had decided was to run certain Java compliance tests on these phones. So what exactly is Java compliance test is that, whenever a new Android version is released, all right, and Java also keeps releasing their new Java kits, like, JDK as well, as some people might know. So it is in this that, the JDK, that the new JDK that is released should be compatible with the Android versions as well. So there are certain Java APIs, Java libraries that need to be working properly on these Android phones. So to do that, Oracle has an automated testing tool. So I worked on the development of the testing tool and the testing procedure to get the Android emulators, in sync with the latest Java that is running. So that was in brief what I worked upon, and I enabled the Android 9 emulator perfectly for Oracle. So that was my proper contribution to the company.
So what were your day-to-day responsibilities during the internship?
So day-to-day, so in the beginning of the internship, we were given an overall objective, an overall goal that had to be achieved by the end of the internship. So in the beginning, we knew what our end target is. And to work on that, obviously, we were given mentors. And so they were guiding us along throughout and, telling us what needs to be done. So initially, the day-to-day task that used to follow was that our mentors used to take some session, maybe, once or twice in a week, and, teach us a few things about their tools and technologies. How does their setup work? So that we get familiarized with the entire work setup, because that is something which is completely new to us, because we haven't seen these company specific tools anywhere in our college life. So we had to get accustomed to those things. So I think that mentor used to help us out in the beginning. And then after that, we were given, let's say, weekly deadlines. So we were told, okay, this is something which you need to do by our mentors and sometimes by our manager as well. So we used to work on that. And every day, see, the thing is, you have to set your own personal targets. That's what my manager used to tell me. So he used to say that, this is your end goal, and you need to split your days in such a way that you comfortably achieve your end goal. So you need to set your own targets and work on it. Make sure that you complete those targets no matter how much time it takes. So that was the deal. And every week I had to send in 2 progress reports to my manager. So yeah, so every day morning I used to get up when from my working hour. That was usually around 9:30. I used to sit on my desk and start working. And whatever I had done the previous day and what I was doing today, I would inform my mentor about it, and then work on it the entire day. And if there was any hurdles or anything, I would feel free to approach my mentor. And yeah, so that's how it worked.
Okay. So what other profile does Oracle offers?
They actually have a lot of profiles. So in brief, the two major profiles that they have is the development profile and the server technology profile. Within server technology, they have a lot of groups. They have groups that work on database. They have groups that work on cloud computing, Java platform group where I worked, and identity management, etc., etc. And then they have the development team as well. So these are like
Uh,
some of the groups. But Oracle is vast. They have teams working on AI, ML tools, and a lot of things. Yes.
okay. So what did you expect before joining this internship?
Well, firstly, I expected I'd be working in an office, not from my house, because
Yeah.
obviously I had looked up the pictures of my
Hmm.
gonna be office, which was really good, and I was excited to be working there, interacting with people. So I think that was a big letdown. That could not happen. That was one of the major expectations. Secondly, I was expecting a more of a teamwork kind of a thing. I was thinking that maybe in my internship team there'll be some 4 5 interns, and I'll be interacting with these other interns from other colleges and working with them. So those were my major expectations from the internship. And obviously to have a great learning opportunity to, understand how big companies, big MNCs like Oracle work, and how are the tools and technologies, how different is it from what we do in our college, and how to go about doing long-term or large corporate scale projects. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the reality?
Well, reality firstly, again, it was work from
Yeah.
home. Sadly for us, we couldn't, work in the office. Secondly, the how I was thinking that it could be a team project where 4 5 interns work on singular this thing. That did not happen at all. So I was the only intern in my team, and so was the case with other, my batchmates as well who worked in the same company. So everyone usually was the only person in the entire team, only intern in the entire team. So we had to work with, like we were given whatever work we had, and our only interaction was with our mentor and our manager. So there was no teamwork as such among the interns or among the same peers. But that's not the case when you become a full-time employee, because in my
Hmm.
team there were 3 full-time employees and a manager. So at least within the full-time employees you have a team. And luckily for me, my mentor, she worked as, let's say a 40% team member and a 60% mentor. So she used to work with me as well. So that was there. So I think that was a great experience. Yeah.
Okay, so Souhard, moving out to our next section after internship experience.
Mhm.
So do you
Yeah.
think if you had some other technical or soft skills, then the internship would have been more fruitful for you?
Okay. So my the team that I got allotted to was Java Platform Group, and it was my second preference. So Oracle had sent us a list of projects or teams in which you would want to work in December. So I had chosen cloud computing as my first preference, and Java Platform Group was my second preference. So I was under the assumption that I will get my first preference, which did not happen, and I got the Java Platform Group. Although I'm glad I got the Java Platform Group because it's an amazing place to work. But because I was under the impression I might get the first preference, I did not really go through the Java concepts during the few months before the internship. And then after I got allocated Java platform group, only then did I start going through revising the Java concept. So I feel if I had more day-to-day use of Java before that and more grasp on the Java language, it would have much smoother, I believe, because I did spend a lot of time getting accustomed to the new Java that was there, and because I hadn't used Java in a couple of months before that. So I think that was one thing I feel I could have done much before. Although the company did have training time in the beginning, they did 1 or 2 days of training. But I think 2 days of training of Java, all of the concepts at the same time, it's not that fruitful as compared to a months long of experience. So I think that's something which I wish I had taken up before. Yeah.
Okay. So how was your experience at Oracle?
How was my experience at Oracle? Oracle is a very friendly place. It's a very it's a fun place. It's a happy place. Although it was all virtual, but they used to keep us all active all the time. Obviously, we had our working days, and then every Friday they used to keep tech talks, so where they used to invite all these big people from the US or the people who have been working in Oracle for decades, like 20, 30 years. So those guys all used to come and used to inspire us by what their work job experience and what the company is doing in the world and how is the company impacting so many people's lives. And after that, every Friday we used to have fun sessions. They used to organize events. We used to have, I remember there was this, what is it called, where you go around looking for certain things inside your house. They will give you a list of items, and then you have to find those things in the house. And they would divide you up in teams, and you would always end up with someone new, so that way you knew all the interns that were there. So even though it was virtual, they ensured that we had a proper fun session every week. We had escape rooms, all of those things were taking place. So that way it was very fun, and the way they managed it with the whole thing being virtual, that was amazing. And the work culture at Oracle is also is very, it's very comfortable. For a person who is only there for a short period, they make you feel that you've been in the company for a long time. They treat you like a proper employee. They treat you with proper respect. They don't think that you're just a temporary intern, and so they give you the respect that you deserve. I think that's one thing that I really appreciated about Oracle. And also the people over there are great. They're always ready to help you out with whatever, be it regarding your internship or anything other than that as well. So they are always ready there for you. And they used to organize meetings, random meetings for us, where we could just join in people who are working at Oracle at senior level, and we could talk with them, ask them how is their experience, how do they find the company, and if we wanted any personal guidance or anything, so what we could always approach anyone. And they used to organize meditation sessions for us, yoga session as well. So I think, yeah, they all kept us engaged throughout.
So what are the do's and not to do's for the Oracle internship?
Okay, so one of the most important things that I feel that, when you're working on a project during the internship, and you feel that, if you're stuck somewhere, you should not, approach your mentor with it, because they might feel that you're not smart, or, they might feel that you don't know this stuff, which should be like pretty obvious. So I think that it should be, you should let go that of your mind, because yeah, I'm not saying that go directly to your mentor and ask them, yeah, what is this, or how should I do this. Do your homework. If you get stuck somewhere, go through the net, see if you can find something, go through their documentation, the material that they have shared with you. And if you feel that if you have tried out every possibility from your side, then please approach your mentor as soon as possible and tell them, what, this is what I had done and this is what I was getting. How do I go about it? Because obviously they know everything. They know the tools that you're working on, which are new to you, not to them. So I feel, because from personal experience, I can say there were times in the beginning where I used to sit with something for 2 to 3 hours figuring out how to do it. Whereas if I had just asked my mentor, it would have been like done in 2 to 3 minutes. So I think that is one important thing. Don't shy away from, asking your mentors. Don't think that, they'll judge you or anything, because you're just an intern. They don't have a very high expectations from you. So I think that should be always kept in mind. And also in specific with Oracle, since our internship was virtual, so they expected a certain decorum while attending official interactions and all. So they always wanted our cameras on. Our camera should not be off, and they wanted good lighting, and the basic video conferencing etiquettes were expected from us, and mics off when not needed, things like that when it came to the virtual meetings. And also the most important thing that they mentioned from the very beginning itself, they said that yes, we appreciate your efforts when it comes to doing projects, but if you can't complete your project within the deadline, then there is something which you need to be looking into. So what they basically indirectly told us, that what we want is, we want the project to be completed. We don't care how much effort you put in. Or what we want is that the project that has been given to you should be completed. So don't think that that you'll get some grace marks for like attempting it or giving it a shot. No, it's either full or zero. There's no in between. Right? You might get appreciation, but that's not going to get you the PPO. Your project completion is what is going to get you the PPO. So that is the major do's. Don'ts would be to not to join any meeting late, be on time. So they are strict about that. They take notes of that. And yeah, so last do was basically, go around your office, interact with as many people as you can. Make sure that they know of your presence, that they know that there's a person named so and so who's interning at Oracle. So I think that this goes for every company, not just Oracle in specific. So because your face value has a lot of importance. They should recognize you by face. They should know, okay, yeah, I know this person. He's working there, and he's an active person. He likes to interact with people, because interactions is something which
Mm.
is very important in the corporate world. So I think that is a big must do. And the don'ts, one of them obviously the most important one is not to attend meetings late. Always be on time. Punctuality is very important. And one more don't would be to don't take the internship experience lightly. Don't just think that that you're doing it just for some certificate to give to the college. You're in a big company like Oracle, and give it your 100% to convert this into full-time opportunity, because not everyone gets the chance to intern or work at such a big company which has so many opportunities in all the fields possible. So I think don't take the internship lightly. Take it seriously and make the best out of it.
So, moving on. So, what are your suggestions for a tier 3 college to crack the internship of Oracle?
Mhm.
Do you know anyone who
Tier
is
3
working
college.
at Oracle and who interned at Oracle and who is from tier 3 college, like your mentor or your team or anyone in your team?
So among the interns, what I observed was that they only took people from NITs, IITs, etc., and BITS. But when it came to like full-time employees, like my mentor, she was from a tier 3 college. So I suggest, I don't know how the intern procedure works if they go to other colleges as well or not. But for full-time opportunities, I think the best way for the tier 3 college students would be to apply offline or for Oracle. Or they open up their offline placements every year, and it gets circulated everywhere. You'll see them on LinkedIn, Internshala, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think always you go to the Oracle site, especially during June to August time, and so that you're up to date with what is happening and what is their procedure and how do they go about it. Obviously, so after you're done with the online registration, I think what's important is that you have a good and a very strong base of DSA knowledge, right? So they won't really care about which college you're coming from, but you should have a good pointer and a very good understanding of your DSA skills and soft skills as well. When you sit for interviews, you should not sit there like someone who is very nervous and who is not able to speak their mind. So that should not be the case, because they make you very comfortable. If you're not able to talk, then you're at fault, not the person who's taking your interview. So I think you should be very good with communication. And I think the best way to do that, if you feel that you're nervous around people, is to practice. Like practice with your friends. Ask your friends to take your interviews. Or one more way to do it is sit in front of a mirror and say out your lines. Imagine a scenario, you're sitting with an interviewer, and what is it that you would want to say? How would you go about a striking conversation? Things like that. So I think these are the most important things that you should keep in mind. And also, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, one last question, and it is not based on your Oracle experience, but in general. And it's the question of the decade, or the question that comes in mind in every engineering student or every junior. I would like to say first and second year junior. Does CGPA matter?
No, CGPA does not matter. Like from first time, when we all came from giving our JE, and we for me, I mean personally, I'd say that I realized that I used to think that once I get into college, it's all going to be chill. I won't have to worry about certain things. I'll enjoy my 4 years. But as soon as I landed here, I saw people again competing with that same energy that they had for JEE. They're here for getting a 10-pointer, getting a 9-pointer. So no, see, if you're going abroad for research purposes, if that's what your plan is, then yes, definitely CGPA will matter. You should have a high pointer, 9 CGPA plus and all that. But if you want a job from your campus or anywhere outside, your CGPA is not really an issue. Yes, some companies like Oracle, Microsoft, yes, a lot of companies do have a minimum CGPA cutoff.
Yeah.
Usually it's around 7, right? So I think safest thing to do would be to keep a pointer above 7, right? So that, because even they want to know that the person who's applying for the company at least is an average student, right? So 6 to 7 is considered to be the average CGPA range. So make sure you're there above 7 to be safe. Stay above 7 overall. But just because your pointer is below 7 does not mean you won't get into a good company.
Yeah.
I remember Uber did not have any cutoff, and I think Goldman Sachs also did not have any cutoff.
Yeah,
Their cutoff was 0.
Yeah, Razor Pay, Medianet. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of companies which won't have any cutoff at all,
Yeah.
right? And they
So
will pay huge amounts. Yeah.
so yeah, but like, what should be the ideal cutoff? Or sorry, what should be the ideal CGPA for uh, a circuit branch student from tier 1 college or tier 3, tier
Hmm.
2 college, a core branch
Hmm.
student from tier 1, tier 2 college who wants to get into this computer science field companies, like a coder from core branch and for a tier 3 college student, like for all these three categories.
Okay. So one thing, I'll be very honest. If you're in a tier one or tier two college, you already have a better image. You're already placed on a higher podium,
Mm.
uh, according to a few companies, right? They think that this guy is in a better college, so he might be smarter than this thing. Some companies, not all. So if you're, let's say, if you're in a tier one, tier two company and you're a CSIT student, if you have a pointer between 7.5, best thing to stay safe is to have about 7.5, so that if one semester goes bad, you won't have a big fall. So that you'll still be above 7. And again, for tier 1, tier 2 college person who is in the core branches and is interested in applying for CS jobs, I think it still holds the same to have 7.5, 8 maybe. 8 will look good if you have an 8 plus pointer. When it comes to tier 3 college students, I think since a few companies might think that you are not from the best of the colleges, so you might not be smart enough as them. Some companies, again, not all companies. So for the sake of these companies, I'd suggest if it'll be great if you have a pointer above 8 or 8.5, because when the tier 1, tier 2 colleges, so there are a lot of students in these colleges which want to go abroad for research,
Mm.
and so these students are the ones who really fight for the CGPA. They want high CGPA. So with these students, increase the competitive nature in these colleges, right? Because of which it becomes harder to even get 8.5 pointer, which might not be always the case in a tier 3 college. So so some companies might feel that it's easier to get a pointer in a tier 3 college, which again may or may not be true. But I think to be safe, it should the pointer should be above 8 if you're in a tier 3 college.
Okay. So any other point you want to add, or should we wrap up the interview?
If there's anything you want to ask, yeah, sure.
No, 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 no. We are done with all the questions. Is there any suggestion from the college ke bade bhaiya to their juniors?
Well, one thing is always, believe in yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Don't think that, I won't get in or anything of that sort. You are smart. You have made it till here. You're doing BTech, which is a big deal. All right. So I think you
Right.
should always be proud of yourself and be, confident that you will get in. And, once the placement season starts or the internship season starts, you'll see a lot of people, getting placed or getting internship before you. So don't
Mhm.
let that, lower down your morale. Always keep it high and take inspiration from them. Reach out to them and ask them that, okay, what is it that you did separately which I have not done till now, right? If you feel that you have done bad in any company's test, go ask the person who aced that company's test, who got every question. Ask him, okay, fine, how did you do this? How did you do that? So like make the best out of those people, right? So don't think that you're not getting anything, so you feel that, okay, I won't get anything and I won't have an internship or I won't have a placement after this. Don't never ever think like that. You are better, if not better, you are as good as everyone else in your college. So don't think that just because a person who has a 9.6 pointer or a 9.5 pointer is better than you, who probably has a 7.5 or an 8 pointer. Like, let me tell you one thing: among all the Oracle interns who got in, I am the one with the lowest pointer, right? So if I were to look at all these people who have much higher pointers than mine, a lot of them are in nines. So I'll feel that what, I probably don't have a chance in front of them. But again, here I'm sitting. I'm the person with the lowest pointer who got an internship with all these students and also got placed with these students. So I think don't let pointer be something which changes your mind or which brings some bad thoughts into your mind. Never think like that. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, thank you so much, Souhard, for this interview and for your time, and all the best
Yeah.
for your
Thank you.
future.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Thank you so much, Souhard.
All right.